All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is the General Greene. God bless you. Jesus Christ is King. Before I get started, since I'm in portrait mode, and sometimes people say, hey, General, when you're in portrait mode, I can't hear you, or you've got a lisp. Can you hear me correctly? So just let me know if you can hear me correctly, because I've got a very, very striking, important video, which honestly, earth-shattering. It's like my most important message I've ever given. Like Jesus, when he told the masses the truth, most will probably not receive it. Just being honest. We are in the most dangerous time in American history I've ever seen. I am the most concerned that I've ever been. I'm losing sleep over it. Like, honestly, all of last night, I had a revelation and direct connection and conversation with God. And he divulged to me and downloaded into my soul, literally the exact consequential events that will come to the United States of America and the westernized world, and how the greatest deception of all mankind would take place right now, January 7th, 2025, and how all the world would be deceived. But before I reveal this, titillating information to you, let me know at the very least you can actually hear, see, and share this great message from the Lord. So God bless you. Anchorage is in the house. What up, Blight? Kayshawn, Quota Video Productions, recognize you. Los Angeles Survival and Preparedness. You can hear me though? Sounds okay? Because sometimes when I'm in the portrait mode, everything goes awry. So today's video will be no pitch. I'm not selling you guys on anything. I'm just absolutely going to reveal, like, literally my life's work, and how your life and your family's life is completely at stake at this moment. I'm going to be careful on how I say it, though. We're in an environment now where you must speak in parables, innuendo, and pantomime. There is no freedom. There is no free speech. Everything is lost, and basically all my warnings of the last 20 years have now come to fruition. So I speak the best that I can. And I'm going to add some of our links here in a moment. By the way, to get our full archive, definitely go to Rumble and check that out. It's not perfect. It's still owned by the same oligarchs, of course, but it has a little bit more freedom. And so just keep that in mind. Still owned by the same oligarchs, so it's all the same people. There are no alternatives. All the same billionaires own the United States, own all the corporations of America, own Trump, own the world. So just be fully aware of that, fully understand that. So I have to be careful in the words that I use, otherwise it'll hit the algorithms. So I think you guys can probably understand what I'm saying. I'm going to pantomime a little bit for you. I mean, this is what the world looks like in 2025, with anti-freedom and anti-liberty and complete surveillance and police state living basically in the United States. So just understand that fact. So why is Donald Trump moving in to buy Greenland, Canada, and Mexico? I talked a little bit about this. Again, this is not a new prediction. It's an old prediction, because this is the very definition of what we've been warning about. A union of the North American bloc into a failed ecosystem, much like the Eurozone and Euro has collapsed and failed and is an absolute disgrace and a mess. Now, the people in charge, because we can't use their names, we can't say who they are, again, no freedom of speech, are now attempting to form an economic, financial, physical bloc in North America. And so Donald Trump is now fully leading the charge ahead with the conquering of the Canadian people, Greenland, Mexico. He's not deporting, he's actually adding them in. So I just want you to understand there's no deportations going on. They're adding in and breaking our borders. The whole goal is to acquire Canada now. That means the eradication, destruction of America's sovereignty, borders, culture, people, amendments like the Second Amendment, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. So just understand this. It's all about dilution. The goal of the people in power is to dilute sovereignty of the core United States and you Americans, the few that are left, still tuning in, all of your rights, all of your sovereignty, and dilute it over time, mathematically, sequentially, and over 1,000 cuts to where it's acceptable in the future. They did this, of course, with the Eurozone, and it's failed and it's collapsed. And we just saw Justin Trudeau, for example, get booted out of Canada because this is all part of the plan. This is the takeover. So Trump is attempting like a Louisiana Purchase style acquisition in the image of what I've been warning about for all these years, for decades. Why are they doing this? Is Trump really in charge? No, he's not in charge. So I'm going to reveal all the truth to you today. Basically, what's happening now is we have advanced algorithms, simulations, deep learning, and data mining, and very advanced artificial intelligence technologies that have already roadmapped and mapped sequentially in highly simulative environments how to manage, move, manufacture, cull, manipulate, and coerce all the world's resources, general populations, sovereign governments, currencies, economies, and finance. And so a master chess game is currently taking place, and these are all deep, dark projects, X projects, okay? These are black DARPA projects that have been hidden from the American public and the general populations for years as a matter of national security. I mean, I'm sure you can all, understand that. Now, these technologies have been in existence for a very, very, very long time. And now with their sudden release, for example, in 2022, suddenly ChatGPT came onto the map. Suddenly, out of nowhere, as if it had never been developed before, because that was all dark, deep, black, X, right? Elon Musk and X, the projects that they've been developing for some time. Again, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, best friends. They started, of course, ChatGPT together, along with Peter Thiel and the rest of the cohorts and the PayPal mafia. They've all in the same. They're battling for world supremacy and oligarchical power. So like they kind of like complain to each other at times, and they're, in a fierce competition, but they're all the same source. So this is what you need to understand. And this is a mass tyranny coming to the United States. Now, I did post this on Twitter, which is a little bit more free temporarily. Elon Musk has said that we need to post more positive content, even though he doesn't have to do anything. He's dictator of his own platform, but he tells us to post more positive content while he dictates very negative information to the American public constantly. So I just want to make that clear. And I did post really a great report on X at AMTV Media. I encourage you to follow me while you can, because it's very, very important. But I'm going to be very careful on how I say it. So the system, right, the people in power are now moving forward with this union, okay? And it's going to be led by Trump to acquire Canada, Mexico, and also Greenland under a new single currency. So they're going to get rid of America's borders, collapse the United States, dilute American sovereignty, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, most importantly, the Second Amendment. And they're going to remove that from Americans. Why are they doing this? Well, there's a sheer intent, and Trump's not doing this, the people in charge are. Again, they've already run all these simulations. The people in charge that did the last thing that I'm not allowed to talk about, in Free America, that other thing that we're not allowed to talk about, that happened like a couple years ago, right? That I predicted, that I literally freaking predicted. Not allowed to talk about that. Those people are calling the shots. So I'm going to tell you why they're doing this. So one, diminish U.S. sovereignty, dilute our people's culture and property rights of current Americans, blend and dilute the Constitution into other nations like Canada that are less free, by the way. Nothing against Canada. I love Canada, like Canadians, have a lot of Canadian investors, but we don't want any of your politics at all. We don't like your view on Second Amendment GUNs at all. Like, you guys are much less free than us. Like, they only give you hunting rights in Canada. They don't give you self-defense and liberty in 1776. We don't want any part of that. But the reason why they're doing this is to dilute, diminish culture, property rights, diminish U.S. sovereignty, and then, of course, blend the Constitution into foreign nations that aren't ours. So they're not closing our borders. Trump wants to open it up. And I just want you to understand this. There's no removal of the people that shouldn't be here. They want to open it up to more people. And there's a reason why. Number one, they want to remove that Second Amendment from Americans, which will be much easier under a union with Canada and Mexico. Number two, there's a severe goal right now to grab rich semiconductor rare earth metals from Greenland, which it's in abundance, which in full supply of. This will fuel the growing AI robotic human takeover. And of course, the transhuman agenda into brain chip interfaces being promoted by Elon Musk and Trump, because that's the new establishment now. And really the great replacement. So I hope you heard what I just said there. They want Greenland because it's very rich in semiconductor precious metals and rare earth minerals that they then need for AI, robotic advancement, human takeover, the merger of transhumanism, and the great replacement of all humanity in the robotic age, all being led by Trump and Elon Musk. They're called BCIs, brain chip interfaces, otherwise known, if you believe in the Bible, which I do, the mark of the beast. Also, Greenland is a very strategic military waypoint and defense territory in the Arctic. Keep in mind that this is a very self-preservation, protectionist, isolationist type move. Kind of like prior to the outbreak of World War II, we're in World War III now, 5th, 6th, 7th generation warfare, technologies, and it's very important, especially as the ice caps melt. That'll create more shipping lanes for trade. Another reason why, of course, Donald Trump wants to take the Panama Canal. Some of these things sound good on paper. Like, I'm not entirely against like some of the ideas because I understand, but I'm telling you, this is your worst nightmare. It's your absolute worst nightmare, and the American people are fully being led to slaughter. And I'm losing a lot of sleep over it because I just know how many people are going to be led to the abyss. It's going to be absolutely terrible. And they're going to cheer on their tyranny as they lose all their rights, all their Constitution, all of their Bill of Rights, and most importantly, the Second Amendment and the right of self-defense. So, of course, governing the Arctic, which with the acquisition of Greenland would be very advantageous, is going to grow more important, especially with the climate, allegedly, even though that's just God. I don't believe, in my opinion, it's man-made. But those ice caps melt, and that creates more shipping lanes, trade routes, etc. Shipping lanes. 3, grow power over a larger land mass, rich in agriculture, minerals, resources, and people, of course, that they can tax. Mexico, for example, has huge agricultural resources, a lack of development. I love Mexico, by the way, and I don't think we should be there. I believe in Mexico's sovereignty rights, and I support the Mexican people. But what I'm saying is the U.S. wants to come in there and attack it so that they can put a Taco Bell and a Starbucks and a Home Depot and a Mickey Donald's on every single street corner and then develop it in the image of, again, the beast. I mean, again, taking away and removing everything that most people like me love about Mexico. This, of course, is a large landmass with manufacturing resources that we currently utilize. And since Trump, in my view, isn't deporting at all, instead he's going to be bringing more people in within the borders and expanding them in Greenland, Canada, and Mexico, that will, of course, make them legal citizens. So that's how he's going to kind of circumvent the deportation. He's just going to legalize the acquisition through war, Canada, Greenland, and Mexico, so it becomes our country and then dilutes everything that we stand for. And of course, this will happen over time. It doesn't happen right out of the gate. This happens over time. Extreme dilution over long periods of time then lead the American masses into their worst nightmare. And of course, they can tax this huge population base, build a much wider, greater surveillance state and police state. And in addition, sequentially and easily move you into what I've predicted, and many of you have for years, but I'm not allowed to talk about it, but the new technology and the new currency that Donald Trump and these people in power will be revealing to the masses. And it'll be all under the guise of a Canadian, Greenland, Mexico, Panama Canal tyranny that the American people will eat up and love. They will love, 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 love that. And they will clap like hyenas as they love their tyranny and oppression. This course will increase tax revenue, digital slavery of the targeted masses, police state, and the surveillance. And then that way they can industrialize places like Mexico and anywhere they expand into a first world police state. 4, this grows technological supremacy and surveillance over larger groups and territories that will be key to combating the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They're heavily already investing in extracting minerals, resource rights, and other natural resources in places like Africa and South America. So this is why Trump is pushing this. It's not him, though. This is what you need to understand. Trump has nothing to do with this. For example, when the black suits came to Trump in 2020, they told him what was going on. The elites that own this place have already run advanced simulations, deep learning, AI, mathematical future predictive modeling into the singularity, which perfects every move and every chess piece so that they win and you lose. And so I just want you to understand this. The technology is very powerful. Most people aren't smart enough to figure it out, and so they're going to be dominated, controlled, and obliterated by the elites. Conclusion. Over time, America's rights, freedoms, Constitution, Bill of Rights, culture, and society will be equitably diluted by these changes, which is why they're pushing for it now. This includes all its rights, the Second Amendment, values, the culture itself, what we think about the current continental United States and our territories and other states like Hawaii. And this is also how they destroyed, of course, Native American and indigenous populations and exterminated them in the past. So they're doing the same thing now. This is one big giant human replacement. Now, they do this through direct invasion, coercion, and since I can't talk about it, this is how you'll know what I mean. They do it through direct invasion, coercion, and okay, I think you probably understand. Now, of course, this is engineered, okay? That's all I can say. And that helps further along the narrative. That's all I can say. This will, of course, introduce the symbiosis between everything they're studying at a cellular level, CRISPR technology, cures, right? Mapping the human genome, the data collection, which is what they were doing. That's what they did over the last couple of years. It's all about data collection. Hope you understand that. Nanotechnology and robots, which of course being developed by Trump and Musk and all the same people that are helping you on the road to freedom as they bring in the tyranny. Again, I'm not developing robots. I'm not developing brain chip interfaces. I don't work for the deep state. I don't work for the three-letter agencies. I get no funding from the Pentagon. Only these people do. So just keep that in mind. Just like Andrew Tate, his dad, a linguist at the three-letter agencies. These other people, I'm not even going to mention their names. All connected, all a part of the system. I noticed Vladimir Zelensky had an interview with a really good social media interviewer recently. You think that's real? Of course it's not. It's all lies. It's all BS. So, This is how they eradicate. This is how they introduce the surveillance state. This is how they dilute Americana, the culture, your rights, most importantly, the Second Amendment, because they really want to go after that. And that's why integrating Canada into the States is a good thing, because Canada has much less rights. And as a result of that acquisition that Trump's pushing for, and all these people are, that way they can dilute Americana, Second Amendment, rights, self-defense, Constitution, because you're adding all these smorgasbord of other cultures and people and failed politics that have nothing to do with the United States of America at all, which is aimed to destroy it. So, there's a growing symbiotic relationship between all of this. And governments have been hiding and are currently hiding black X projects. Again, you would never be allowed to buy X unless it was approved with a stamp of approval of regulators and the people in power. They decide. There was even a merger, a very big merger, I think, in the oil and gas industry that was about to take place a few days ago, and it was blocked because it was a matter of national security. So if the deep state's against these people, why wouldn't they block the acquisition of X? Well, they didn't, because they want the acquisition. I hope you understand. I hope you are awake. I'm not even trying to convince you. I don't even care if you're convinced. I'm warning the few that might have eyes to see. Now, over time, America will be diluted, its values and culture diminished. This is also how, again, they've destroyed all indigenous Native American populations, etc., through direct invasion, coercion, and so expect more of that. More engineered events, okay? And governments are hiding these black projects like they did with AI. Again, ChatGPT and everything that was just released. I mean, I've known Sam Altman for years. He's rented my Jeeps in the past in Maui. I knew him before he was even famous. All these people live like they're like my neighbors and stuff. So again, it's not new news. It's all been hidden for decades. And they only released it in 2022 after they ran all these other simulative events for a reason. So it's a simulation. This is just a systemic transfer of all resources. It was also a stress test for the other things they're going to do in the future. Population management. We'll just be nice about it, right? How they're going to slap all of you around a little bit, okay, in the future and control you. And those are the key points. Key point is Trump isn't making these decisions. I'm not even hating. This is above his pay grade. The black suits and the men in black and those in charge are running these advanced AI, simulative technologies, predictive data mining, and quantum computing technologies. Same reason I knew about Bitcoin, and I'm rich, bitch, okay, because I understood all this years in advance before all of you did, okay, and not you, my audience, but I'm talking about the general masses. You guys are awesome. It's how I knew, because again, I'm smarter than 99.9% of all human people. Bottom line. And so Trump's not making these decisions. We've got predictive data mining operations and quantum computing technologies running simulations and data collection synergies right now, and technologies that have already mapped in a master chess move the actions needed to move the masses of people, human psychology, physical resources, land masses, which is why they've suddenly, it's out of the blue, guys. It's a sudden announcement. America's going to acquire Canada and Mexico and Greenland. They're going to establish a new union. I hope you understand. Its abbreviation will become Canada, United States, and Mexico. I encourage you to not comply to the come, ladies and gentlemen. Canada, United States, and Mexico. It came out of nowhere. Trump just pulled it out of his butt. Trump has nothing to do with it. He's got his lemming, his son, over there in Greenland right now. The Greenland's really cold around here. telling us Bitcoin's going to $1 million when they called it a scam several years ago. You were hating on us several years ago. Now you're the biggest promoters of it. How did I know? Again, I've already known this. It's why I own a $100,000 Rolex and most people don't. And it's why I own Lambos and multi-billion-dollar real estate. Because we're smarter than the freaking machine. And that's the truth. And so, as they move everything around through deep learning, providing this new wealth of knowledge for the elites, information they keep to themselves, top secret, right? Black projects. They're hiding everything. The energy infrastructure, for example, I'm not going to get too far into it, but quantum mechanics, if you guys have ever studied it, I know most people don't read anymore, right? They're just on Instagram every day. But if you've ever read anything on quantum mechanics and the hidden technologies of like energy production and stuff, you'll know that they already have all this stuff. It works within vacuums. Okay, if you understand quantum computing at all and how that works and what they've been hiding, they already have the technology, just like they already had the AI years ago. It's why they're putting out this bullshit, excuse my French, of all the stuff in our skies now, which I also predicted. How did the general get that right? Oh, he's just a freaking genius, I guess. So, over time, it will diminish freedom and human rights. BCI's brain-computer interfaces, chips, okay, which Elon Musk and others are developing, all backing and promoting Trump, are a biological merger of human and machines, and that's taking place now. This, of course, threatens current establishment mores, political thought, morals, ethics, and most importantly, religious views from people like me that are Christians and believe in Jesus and will never submit to your mark of the beast trash. So, they can't roll this out like right away. They have to diminish and impregnate into the society over time. It's by 1,000 cuts. This is what you guys need to understand. So these brain chip interfaces will go mainstream largely from now into 2030. And in my personal opinion, I think we'll reach full human interactive singularity somewhere around 2045. Okay, I mean, that's when they'll ban all manual driving cars. They will incentivize that, of course. I'm just giving you like a tangible example. They'll incentivize that with massive fines and fees from insurance. There will be reports that say the self-driving cars owned by the oligarchs are much safer, so they'll get better insurance rates. They will stop manufacturing sovereign vehicles and manual driving cars. That's why I own so many cars. People ask me, why did I buy 13 Jeeps? Why do I own all these Lamborghinis? I'm just buying as much as I can before it's not allowed. I hope you do understand that. Your kids, if you have kids today, they will never drive manually ever. All their rights and sovereignty and their ability to be free is going to be removed from them permanently. Period. Because there's this massive pushback from people like me, the mores, the political thought, the morals, ethics, and religious views from a lot of different ethnicities, cultures, and even religious frameworks. They will conquer this opposition over time using their deep mind, deep state AI. This, of course, is by 1,000 cuts. Future generations, of course, will be much more susceptible and adaptable to these technologies like CRISPR, gene editing, BCIs, biological integration of technologies like 3D printed organs, nanorobotic technologies that move around within your cellular structure, that, of course, alter DNA and operate at a very biological level. Also, wearables like smart tech, like manage your health and all this stuff and track your little heartbeat on a day-to-day basis. And your cars are already sending all this information to the state as well. And every camera is on every street, in every schoolyard, and within your house, also being surveilled and tracked within your hand, which is the mark on your cell phone, is gathering, of course, all this information for what they're going to do next. And they understand, just like I do, they're going to have to accomplish this over time. Multi-generationally, as people like me, perish. Okay, I'm going to teach my kids all of this, and my grandkids will know too, so they will always resist and fight the deep state. But people like us will be diminished over time, and that's how they'll completely topple and overtake all of humanity, and then bring in, of course, the Antichrist, and absolutely slaughter the human masses into hell permanently. It's going to be terrible. 3D printed organs, nanorobotic technologies that alter, again, within inside of you, operate at the cellular level. And the introduction of all the smart tech is just a small step of the tracking, surveillance, biological merger, of course, of what they're pushing for. I'm not allowed to go into too much more detail over that. Just know that everything that happened, that's what it was. Okay, it blows my mind. People are so stupid, they can't figure that out. I mean, think about that. People are so stupid that they can't connect these dots and understand, like you and I do, that this is one mathematical, simulative, data mining event, which is leading towards a, movement of pieces for natural resource selection, aggregation of territories, lands, political power, circumvention of power structures, and overthrowing of cultures, societies, and peoples. It's unbelievable. I've studied history, so I understand how governments have, used these techniques in the past. And I think I have a strategic advantage too, because of course I was in social media when everyone said it was a scam 20 years ago. So I've actually lived in the algorithm. So I understand and have seen the algorithms shift and change, which is how I knew Bitcoin was a Trojan horse, why I'm rich now, and most people on the planet aren't because they weren't smart enough. So the final thought is, yes, this is the beast system, and I will provide solutions in the next video. It's not all negative. See, what's cool about me is I make you freaking rich. I have real, tangible, physical solutions to the problem that we know is here. And I bring freedom and liberty and success and salvation to all of you. So we're 30 minutes in. I'm going to keep the video tight and short. Again, I'm not trying to really convince anyone. I'm just putting it out there to the American people to critically think about it. I really don't care, honestly, at this point, if most people are slaughtered, because just like Jesus, if you can't hear my message or you're not smart enough to understand, I will simply move to the next city or country and state, and I will just preach to them. Because again, we're not going to win everyone. Most people are worshiping the beast. Most people love their tyranny. Most people will dilute the United States Constitution and Second Amendment, and they will cheer on their brain chip interfaces. And people like me will resist, and that's why I'm rich and most of you aren't. Because again, you're going to need money. You're going to need community. You're going to need salvation. You're going to need actionable ideas. You're going to need resources, food, water, technologies, and most importantly, the spiritual power of God, just like Noah, as he commanded with the digital Noah's Ark Island Project.com, and of course, David slaying Goliath. In the next video, I will provide solutions when I want to, because I do this for free and I give you world-class information that the elites would never tell you, and I can do whatever the frick I want, and so I will do whatever I want. God bless. It's an honor, and you are the resistance, and I hope you resist. And if you don't, enjoy your slavery. God bless.